Welcome to a special edition of the Fresh Cred, recorded live at Viva Fresh 2025, the premier show celebrating the Tex-Mex corridor, a vital trade route and year-round production hub. These episodes are made possible thanks to our amazing sponsors: Sunfed, Ifco, Monterey Mushrooms, EXP Group, Anavale, Arctic's Produce, Agrogonzamek, Agribot, Athos, and the Texas International Produce Association. Enjoy the episode.
We've been joined by two gentlemen here off to my left.
Yes.
A Mr. Jesse Jones, professor and advisor at UTRGV, and Sabastian Melendez, graduate student at UTRGV as well, correct?
Indeed.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for being with us. As part of the EDGE program with TIPA, which some of you, our loyal listeners, have heard about, they are here attending the show and being exposed to the industry, people in the industry, the programs that TIPA has to offer. Actually, we have students from Texas State University, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, and Texas A&M University, correct?
That's correct.
What does EDGE mean? And why EDGE? What's that name? What's the genesis of the name?
Encouraging discovery and growth in education.
Very nicely said, Ed. That's I couldn't remember that, but that's good.
That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. Anyway, sorry. All right, back to these gentlemen. But they're here because we want to encourage them to come into this fabulous business. That's the idea.
Definitely a group of students that have been here starting, well, I guess this morning, right? Tabs? Starting this morning, we had a group of students at a breakfast that are here for the trade show and to be exposed to the industry and pursue potentially opportunities in the produce industry. So, as I was going earlier.
All right, now go back.
Jesse, so far, what do you think of the expo and what you've seen today?
I tell you, after this introduction,
you have a different opinion, don't you? You're like, oh my gosh.
I don't have the adequate words to express the deep joy of why I'm here and what we are doing. But I say that because I want to thank Miss Sabrina Wilson, who made this happen for us, who brought the awareness to me as a professor. This is my first time being here. Okay. And it's exciting. It's incredible, the size, the magnitude of all of this. And I live in the Rio Grande Valley and did not deeply appreciate or were aware of the magnitude of this. And I am now. Okay. I am now. Yeah, a little bit about me. I'm a professor at the University of Texas down in the Rio Grande Valley. A little bit about my background. I came out of the fields. I'm 72. I'll be 73 years old.
Get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Yeah,
Bro.
he
We
looks
work the
younger,
fields.
right?
He does. He looks a hell of a lot younger. I look like I'm 75, and I ain't.
You don't.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate Sebastian that you're getting points there. Go ahead.
But in the late 50s, early 60s, working out that with the family and everybody, we talking about cotton. We fruit and vegetables running, but picking cotton and everything. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. There was a world out there, and it was a relationship out there. It was a way of growing up, a way of appreciating work, a way of appreciating what I have now. So I came from that. So when I had the opportunity to talk to my department head to come and bring some students to participate in this, I jumped at the opportunity because I understand this. I understand the EDGE program. And giving students opportunity and exposure means everything, everything. And what I have learned, and I'll be quickly with this, is that now I know what's here, and I can go back and shape a program and bring students to come in the future to take advantage of these opportunities. So I'm excited about being here.
That's very well said. And you just reminded me of something we were talking about this morning, which is, I think, even if, say, conventional produce isn't your path, there are roles within companies. Craig runs a company. I work for a global company. There are roles within these companies that are not, let's say, from a growing operational standpoint, but finance, IT, but all these companies need all of the functions that you basically have across the, breadth of, the educational system. So there's a ton of opportunity that people don't consider, right? I mean, they might just be thinking as it relates to growing operations or even growing sales or produce sales, I should say.
Well, I've been in the Rio Grande Valley now for 8 years. I retired from San Antonio, moved down this way. And this is where everything is grown. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate Texas A&M having an agricultural organization up there at that university. We need it here. We need it here in a bigger way because we're down here with the growers, right next door to Mexico. We need a program like that. We need to start building a program like that for our students. Okay, I mean, we need to bite off the apple too.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, it's actually a good point because, so much of the ag is down south, and having a program there makes all the sense in the world, getting kids into that. So, for sure. All right, Sebastian, you're here. Is this your first time for the Viva Fresh?
It is.
All right. So,
Not the first time I hear about it, though.
okay. So, well, what brought you here? Well, what if you heard about it and you're here? Why are you here?
So, number one, I heard about it because I know a couple of the people that assisted this year, and I know they assisted in previous years. That's number one. And what brought me here? Gentleman right here.
Yeah.
Number one, he literally told me, you want to go to an event where there's going to be a bunch of vendors. It's really involved with students. You're going to get to experience the industry really well. I said, of course I will. And just like he said, I'm honored to be here for the reason that my generation is so involved with technology and probably the nature of the industry as a young adult or maybe a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 25-year-old, you don't feel like you belong to this industry probably. We are born or raised with technology and so many things that you even forget this core industries that build our nation, right? And it's impressive because I'm walking around and I see how
It seems simple, right? Like it's
simple and so simple, but that does not lower the quality of it.
well said.
So in a way, it's awakening for me, to be honest. As my first time here, that was the question.
Yeah.
Right? As my first time here, it was awakening to see the different companies that are here and how they contribute. Just speaking with one person, he told me of how they impact different products, different segments, even animals.
Yeah.
So it's very impressive. It's awakening to me.
So, what's your degree in?
International business.
International business. Well, we
Yes.
definitely are international.
Yeah, and there's business. Now, I'm going to say
Well,
this.
yeah, we fit both of those categories.
Indeed. I was not so involved in export-import when I actually completed my degree. I just graduated in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was more into marketing. That's why I actually came here to ask all the vendors, how do you promote your products? How do you grow it to the company that you have nowadays? And they were sharing who their customers are, a little bit of that, right? They're not going to tell me the secret recipe,
Secret sauce.
the secret sauce, but they told me how they started it, who their segments are, how they promote it, what they're missing, and hopefully my generation can fill in those gaps. And I actually got to see a couple things that could be improved. Some of them I shared, some of them I didn't, right? Some people are more open to feedback, but indeed I do agree that my generation or my group can definitely make a positive impact in this industry.
That's very well said. Good feedback.
And we this industry, you mentioned a couple of things. And one, youth, we need it. There's a lot more of me's out there than there are yous.
It is getting
40-year-old?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sebastian. But yeah, we need the young because, you mentioned technology.
Yes.
It's an industry that is not ever been very technologically advanced. I mean,
Yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need young minds, people with that technology base. We need that to come in because it's getting harder and harder to do what we do because of lack of water, lack of labor,
Land.
land, everything. It's getting more and more challenging. So we're going to have to continue to be able to feed the world and do what we do. We've got to increase our efficiencies. We've got to take out some of the friction.
I want to say something here. My degree in business, right? And I started a company not too long ago, and I was part of many competitions. And some of them give you a problem that you gotta solve. And some of them are actually health diseases or could be like developing this new product. And I told Mr. Jones and all the other students that came with us, I'm not sure why in these competitions, nobody has said, let's put together a group of engineers, computer science majors, business students, I don't know what other majors, and let's tell them this is the issue. How would you solve it? Why nobody has done that, at least in the valley yet, right? With the influence that has in our region.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Sounds like an opportunity.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like an opportunity. Maybe you take that charge on. So yeah, so as like I say, more importantly, right? From an industry standpoint, have you decided what your career move is going to be? Have you picked out where you're going to go directionally? You got any vision?
Did it change today?
Maybe. No, I'm into technology very much. I'm into technology. I'm not close to only one application to technology. That's the answer.
You're going to hear one of the interviews we did today once it publishes and once Mason puts it out there. But some pretty interesting technology in electronic cold pasteurization, or is it pasteurization?
Cold pasteurization.
Yeah,
yes.
cold pasteurization. And there's a facility in McAllen. It's irradiation using electricity.
Okay.
There's a lot of technology out there. It's just
Let me just mention this young man. He's being a little modest.
Maybe.
Yeah, he one of my star students. He participated with a company called Expanding Frontier. He won a $7,000 prize because he created a shape card. He also participated.
I'm sorry, he created what?
Shape card.
A digital business card
Okay.
into tech.
Okay.
This young man also, I was invited to go up to New York to participate in an international sales competition with over nearly 30 universities around the country, powerhouse universities, including Ivy League schools.
China,
2 schools, university. We went up expecting, a lot of people expected we were going to present because we were just glad to be there. We came in top 10. And because of that, another student received congressional letters of appreciation from U.S. Congressman Vicente Gonzalez as well as Montes de la Cruz. I also won a special citation for being their instructor. What I'm saying is he's a very talented young man. He is. The question I ask, and I always ask them to ask this question, that's what we will be doing when we go back and when I try to put a program together. What is it that we can bring to the table from the university? What is your greatest challenge? What is it that we can do to alter the future in terms of what you're saying? Right now, your greatest challenge, you're talking about water, supply, and Sebastian was responding to that. Those are the kind of things that we have to really look at. I started, when I got out of the service, I'm a Vietnam air vet, in 1978. My degree was in special education, working with special need kids. I ended up 38 years working for Bristol Myers Squibb, selling pharmaceuticals to doctors. You don't know which way your direction going to go.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't.
Yeah.
You just don't. You just take advantage of the opportunities when you present. What I'm saying is that's what I have to take back to the university, and that's what's been so valuable to me. What did I see up here that I can take back there so when we come back, we can say, I understand what your challenges are. This is what we can do to solve those challenges. Yeah.
Connecting the business to some of the resources that the university has.
I want to say something. I'm going to respond back to your question. Yes. At Viva Fresh, you actually put a seat here, right? And you're making me consider how I can actually be part of the industry. I was never close to it. But now, after experiencing this, I see myself even more being part of it. Probably not my main career, but like you mentioned, like the technology that it's out there. Probably I don't produce it. Probably we finance it. Probably we develop the business model behind it. But definitely, yes. The answer is yes.
So, I mean, so that is ultimately the EDGE program, right? So you ask the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's like what we want to do is expose young people to this business. Yeah. So it's a potential career path for you with whatever passion you have. If it's technology, if it's business, if it's sales and marketing, we've got a place. We need that youth. And so that's the whole premise behind EDGE. And it's, making young people aware of the industry. Because like you said, I didn't grow up. I wasn't as a young kid thinking, man, because I started my career selling bananas.
Okay.
Yeah. And Chiquita.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you that was not on the bingo card for sure. But
you didn't dream of being a banana salesman.
I did not. But you know what? I should have, because it was a damn good. I loved it.
They taste good.
Yeah, they taste good. It's people love it. I mean, it's got its problems, but I mean, it's a great gig. But go ahead, what you got?
Speaking of that, you put me in the spot actually. Very off topic. I was in theater club at some point in life in middle school. I was a banana in a play actually.
Oh yeah,
I was.
were you
I have videos.
were you a Chiquita banana?
No, it was like a group of stories.
Yeah.
A Spider-Man and all the stories for kids, and they would all have a problem. This is off topic, right? They had a problem, and then they would call the magic banana, and I would just come in dancing peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter. You know how many signatures I had to give to different kids? They love me. They love me.
You were very popular.
That sounds like a marketing campaign.
Me and you both are already. I'm already down that
I mean,
path.
that's
I
a
was like,
marketing
you guys
campaign.
missed an opportunity. You could have sold that labeling and that.
I would have sold that.
May I ask you a marketing question then?
Yes.
What is it that you think is the greatest challenge that the university can address?
Within the industry,
Yes, sir.
I'll answer my perspective on it. I do think technology is probably the number one thing that we need to get ramped up on quicker, right? You know, whether it's AI based, there's so much. I mean, there's companies doing it, but the biggest opportunity in this business is really accelerating our technology.
And well, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I mean, technology. So technology is a very broad topic, but food safety probably. Technology
safety.
and food safety is probably the most important.
I apologize for that. So if it's technology, what's holding the industry back? From your perspective,
Cost.
expert.
Cost. I mean, everything comes down to
It's
cost.
cost, and then there's a lot. The industry is it's difficult to change, right? So our business happens very much in the moment, right? We're completely different. You got everything that when we cut the product off, we're now racing against the clock because it's dying. We've got a dying. Our product is dying.
Indeed.
And we've got a limited amount of time to get it on somebody's plate. And there comes a point in time, and it loses value every second. Every second that product is not in somebody's, it's not on their plate. It's losing value.
Shelf life extension
Yeah.
technology and shelf life extension is another problem to
But-
solve.
but the
people are working on it. Obviously, it's not completely solved.
But the industry, because of how for years and things, we've been able to make things work because we have to operate in such a short window. We don't store up. We don't have time. So the industry is very difficult, and it's very reluctant to change. Right? We get systems. We get a supply chain this is the true just-in-time supply chain. And because of that, we don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the opportunity to really spend the time trying to figure out and take all the things that come along with technology. So that to me is the biggest problem. It's an industry that's not very adept to change. It's a very old industry. I mean, we still talk.
It's very fragmented too. I mean, from a supplier-based standpoint,
there's a fragmented.
I mean, you're not talking 2 or 3 suppliers. I mean, just on that wall, you can see 30.
30
Right? So I mean, it's extremely fragmented supply chain.
Yeah, I mean, we sell in boxes. So we sell 4/7, 1/9 bushel boxes.
Okay.
Right? That sizing that we use is based on how they sold produce in the 1950s in bushel baskets.
So it has.
So we're now in cardboard boxes. We went from bushel baskets to cardboard boxes, and we did get rid of wood. We used to have wood crates at one time. So, but the point being is we still sell a 1 1/9. We still sell a 4/7, and all that. So just to give you some idea how hard it is to get this industry to change, I mean, we've still stuck on using sizes from the 50s based on bushels, and that's the way, you had a bushel, and if you filled it up to 4/7 or you had a size, that's how product sizing's even determined, right? I mean, so many cucumbers would fit in a 1 1/9 bushel, right? So that's how people knew what size they were getting as they got, a 1 1/9 full of cucumbers, and so you knew how many you were getting.
I was talking with Miss April Flores with Lone Star.
Yeah.
It's interesting you're saying that. Back in the late 50s, 60s, 61, 62, flood irrigation is how we did it.
Yeah.
And they still doing it
Still
today.
doing it.
Still doing it today.
100%. Yeah. And so it's an industry that it's reluctant to change because, if it ain't broke, let's don't fix it. But, what technology is about is recognizing that yeah, it needs to be broke if you really want to be the best. And
Sometimes you have to break it.
you have to break it, and that's really, and the industry is really reluctant to do that, and we need it.
Okay.
So
Another when we're talking about technology, another area would be eliminating one-way packaging, right, or reusable packaging.
Makes
So
sense. Okay.
the company I work for, we reusable packaging is our business. So that's from a technology perspective, and now it's again something that's been worked on for quite a while, but that doesn't mean that it's completely solved. Food waste,
Oh, man.
right? I mean, out west, there any food manufacturer is required to dispose of their food waste in a much different manner than it's required in the central part of the United States, for example, with food digesters and otherwise. So there's a ton, just like there is, like I mentioned, there are opportunities that are so varied across the companies that we work with. There are opportunities to solve problems. So as you get more involved, and like I said, when we get back, hopefully we can not wait until the next Viva to have another conversation, but I think there's more opportunity there. You were going to say something, Sebastian?
Yeah. Well, it's because from a business perspective and from a marketing perspective, and Mr. Jones can agree or disagree with me. You're more than welcome to either or. But because he tells us that, don't agree with me. I prefer if you disagree, but tell me why. But I think it was you saying the cost, right? And that sparked something in me saying, why the cost? Why not talking about the efficiency? Like, why is the first thing that comes into the cost? Because I know there's an expense related to that. But I don't know if this is the solution, but if the coin were to be flipped, and instead of talking of costs, incremented, we talk about efficiency that reduce them, another story could be. I'm not sure. I'm really new to the industry. That's the first thing I was thinking. The second thing I was thinking is I just wanted to say that I'm not disrespectful. I was looking at my phone because I was trying to find the picture of me as a banana. So it's actually
so you were
we're
making
gonna
that
post
story
that.
up, huh?
yeah, like I was not making any
That's
story.
you.
That's literally me when I was around 13, 14.
I was gonna
Marketing
say you look
campaign.
like you're. I mean, you look young now, but look like you were even younger then. So for sure.
I think so.
You
I
still
think so.
got that picture.
Yeah, he still got. So
That's
so
awesome.
I've got to. So I'm gonna flip the question back to you guys, right? So I kind of gave you a sense of what our problem is and what we're looking for in the industry. So the question is going to come back. How do we reach more of your students? So that's the question for you, Jesse. And then Sebastian, as we reach out, things that you saw here, how can we better connect with the students? So Jesse, you first. How do we reach more of your students to let them know about this industry and at least let them be aware of it? How can we make them aware of this
Yeah,
industry?
and me and Sabrina Wilson, we was talking about that earlier today, and that's one of the things we're going to do is partnership when we get back. And some of the basic marketing is just we have to go shoe level, go out to the classes, go and promote, put it on the billboard, social media, and let students be aware that this is an opportunity. I could be wrong, but I just don't think the general public really realize when a lettuce is picked and put on the plate on between two buns, what happened in between.
That you're not wrong. Nobody
Okay.
they don't understand.
Okay. That's what we have to do and show some excitement that there's a career out here, there's a world out here. Let me just mention this. In the beautiful Rio Grande Valley where we live,
Not the RGB. The beautiful Rio
it's
Grande
beautiful.
Valley.
It's beautiful.
Because
It's beautiful down there.
he told us that in class.
It's beautiful. Is that one of the things that as parents, we hate seeing our children leave the valley. We want to keep them there. Many times the opportunities and different things are not there. What I'm saying is those are things that we have to look at. I think in the future, what you're saying, marry with Edge, all of this, where they will have an opportunity, where they will stay, okay, and where they can raise the grandchildren and everything right there in the beautiful Rio Grande Valley. There are three things that I know big industry wants, and you correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Number one, they want land. They want plenty of it, okay? And we do have quite a bit of land compared to some of the other areas. Water supplies begin to be a problem, but we do have quite a bit of recyclers and, lakes and some things, but I know we've been going through a drought. The other is cheap labor, and we got a lot of that. Okay, so if you have those three things, you have the workings of bringing more industry in the area.
Yeah.
The thing that we have, to answer your question directly, it's incumbent upon us to promote it. It's incumbent upon us to wave our hand and say, come on down to the beautiful Rio Grande Valley with your business opportunity. We have those things for you. So real quickly, I lived in San Antonio for 43 years. The labor market not quite like that there. We don't have the water supply because we only had like 2 lakes. Okay, and that was limited in terms of what you could sample out of because it was aquifer limited.
Yeah, in San Antonio,
okay.
it's a big aquifer. Yeah.
Okay, and so what I'm saying here in the Rio Grande Valley, we have those 3 things, and we are positioned in a real good spot. We just haven't done a great job in marketing it. That's my opinion.
And partner. I mean, I think marketing and the partnership between industry and the universities and associations like the one that puts on this event, Viva Fresh. There needs to be more communication. I think there is some good work being done, but it's in some cases extracurricular, and so it's just a matter of prioritizing it and folks leading the charge. And y'all have taken the initiative to be here.
Yes.
Tip has taken the initiative of sponsoring a program, again, the EDGE program, which, by the way, if you go to the website, all of the profiles of the students that are involved in the program are there, and that's at vivafreshedge.com. So it's not only networking opportunities and potential job opportunities for the students that participate, but also a talent pipeline really for our membership and beyond, and the folks and the member companies that sponsor and participate in Viva Fresh Expo. So we definitely encourage folks to go to vivafreshedge.com to learn more about it.
So Jesse didn't get it. I mean, I'm sorry, not Jesse, but Sebastian didn't get a chance to answer. So how do we make it more or not necessarily attractive, but how?
Because it is already attractive.
Well, but how do we with the students, right? That aren't, I realize getting word to them, but how do we make this in the bucket of possible career paths for them?
I'm gonna tell you
This industry.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it from what I experienced. Right. First of all, I want to say I'm really thankful that we are here one more time, and the Edge program definitely. This could be sponsored, but sponsored by Edge.
There you go.
But what I'm trying to say here is, I would make it very, 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 very connected. How can I explain it? I was involved in so many different things, events, competitions, programs, workshops. I would make it part of that as much as possible. My idea, I may be wrong. I haven't tested it, right? But I would reach out to not every, but many professors at the universities and see who are willing to be part of this. Some of them will respond. Some of them will not. Some of them, like Mr. Jones, will. And we'll bring the students. Now, the reason I say programs, competitions, events, all those things is because you're going to find top talent.
Sure.
Now, of course, we want to try to get as many people as possible, right? But the top talent is what will make this industry better, right? And I say this because it's not just the business students. Many of my friends that did the I-Corps program at the university, the sales competitions, the pitch competitions, all those competitions, they were not even in business. The winners were in engineering, computer science, all kinds of majors. And you are not just getting business people, but you're getting top talent across the industries. And that's how we target not just technology, but many different areas across the agricultural industry or produce, right? I would say don't make it part of the curriculum, because we were saying sometimes, every now and then, if they want to register the class, it's there. Probably not that way, because you're not going to see people registering for that class. But if you make it part of a competition where the students get a chance to put it in their curriculum, and they really care about it, because they're not gonna put, I don't know, agricultural class in their resume. But if they put participant, winner of this competition, or probably awarded of this situation, they're gonna definitely put it.
I'm making a note. I think it's
I'm
a great
glad.
idea.
You know, I would love to be part of that too. I would love to be part of that for the reason that I was raised in Mexico. I lived in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. We have fields there, but we were never. If your family doesn't have a field, you are not exposed to that. But what if you go to these areas, which are universities, and you tell them this is this competition, and you gotta come up. I did that. My friends, engineers, and all of them, we did hackathons because we love the idea of us staying in a place for 24 hours. We eat definitely, right? No sleep, just with the desire to come up with the best solution and brag about it, right? But you don't know how many students show up to those things. So many. I saw many of them not even wanting to sleep. When I did a hackathon, I did not even sleep because we wanted to win.
Of course.
They gave us food. They gave us a great place to stay at. It was actually the HQ for a big company out there. Nobody wanted to sleep, and everyone wanted to come up with the best solution. So I guess it's those kind of situations that bring you the best talent, that bring you the best ideas, and that exposes them because they may not come up with a solution just because they're not interested. But if you put them in a situation where you literally put them in a room for 24 hours and tell them you can probably win $1,000, $5,000, or probably not even that, just put it as an award. I know so many students would do it.
Solve it, or you're not leaving.
Yes, yes.
Let
I
me
mean,
let me add a footnote to what Sebastian's saying. Like Expanding Frontier is a startup, it was a corporation, non
incubator.
Yeah, incubator of new businesses startup, and they have a contract with NASA. So it's a technological businesses, and I invite them all to my class to present. He has been to my class. I can't begin to tell you how many times pitching this stuff. And one of the things I do when they come, I said, leave your ego at the door. Because if you're coming in with a good idea, we're going to strip it down. Constructive criticism, not just to badger you, but you're coming in here, you want some good feedback. Yes, that's your baby, but we're going to tell you what we think. And it has helped a lot of people. But the other part I want to add to this is that here with Edge, these programs, is a one-way exposure. I want to offer a second way of exposure, and by inviting this industry to the class to have access to the students. I mean, the students up here having access to them.
Right.
I would love to have them come down and have access to the students.
I think we
I think
can.
we got an invitation.
I was going to say we can certainly get that arranged, and
More
for
than
sure,
welcome.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we'd, I know for me, like I say, for the industry, I'd be open to doing that, and I know there's plenty of people in the valley that would be open to, that kind of thing.
What I'm saying, my classes are open to you.
Okay.
My marketing class, business ethics, also
Sales.
my sales class. They're open to you anytime you want to come down.
Okay. Well, we'll figure something out on
gonna
that.
do it.
And we have the resources. The university has places where literally we've done hackathons. They stay in the university. We have everything. So it's not there's no excuse in this case, right? I'm not saying that you're putting an excuse, but I'm saying
Sure.
like we have everything.
Yeah.
There's not really a door. It's
Just
a
connecting
room.
the dots. It's just a lack of.
And we're
connecting
doing it
the
right now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very
Thank
much
you.
for sure, and we'll come down to the valley and do this again.
Please. Please.
You've got the wheels going. We just need some time to
Put it together.
Yep.
decompress and process.
Everything worthwhile takes time.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I want to thank the guys, Ed and Craig, for having Edge and for having Jesse Jones and Sebastian Melendez from GV as on this podcast. As you all know, and I know they relayed this, Texas State, Texas A&M, and UTRGV were all part of our program this year, and we are so elated that they came and they joined us. So just to reiterate a little more, make sure, as Ed said, to go to vivafreshedge.com and make sure to go to the Meet the Student section. There you'll see profiles, which will feature their resumes, their LinkedIn, their email, their skills. At the end of the day, you will know that student from back to front. So it's important that you go check them out and make sure to feel free to reach out. They ultimately want to land a job, land an internship, and how that starts is either with them and in this case with you. So I encourage you to all do that. Also, to my students, if you are watching and you are listening, make sure to go check out the blogs. We have 5 new ones, and they touch on topics including networking, following up, why you should consider a career in fresh produce. Because after all, I think after this expo, you know you need to be in our industry. Also, overcoming imposter syndrome and the importance of mentorship are other ones that I highly encourage you to read. I think the most important thing I will say to our companies is that these kids are ready. They want to work in this industry and they want to meet you. So, anyway, I encourage you all to reach out. You can always reach out to me via email at sabs@fulltiltmarketing.net. And we're always open to ideas. I want to thank the guys for having us. Thank all our sponsors for Edge. And thank Viva Fresh for bringing this to life. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this special edition of the Fresh Cred, recorded live at Viva Fresh 2025. Stay tuned. We've got more voices from the heart of the produce industry coming your way.